Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the upteenth episode of the Pods Are Against Us, aka the Against Us podcast. You guys already know who I am. I'm Jose, your founding father, the yin to your yang, the Randy Orton of this establishment. In this case, the Peter Chris of this establishment. Kind of a last minute episode. Didn't have a plan to record tonight, but unfortunately, with the news tonight, as the hoodie suggests, I had to do this. And it is with heavy news, I'm sure y'all have heard by now, especially if you're hard rock and metal fans, that tonight, October 16th, 2025, original Kiss lead guitarist Ace Frehley, aka the Spaceman, aka the original Space Ace, has sadly passed away from a fall that he unfortunately went through a few weeks ago, 3-ish weeks ago, give or take. Never fully recovered, was taken off life support just a few hours ago from by his family. And unfortunately, he leaves us today at the age of 74. He was born Paul Daniel Fraley, excuse me, on April 27th, 1951. He leaves us, as I mentioned earlier, today, October 16th, 2025, at 74 years old from a nasty fall and an internal bleeding that unfortunately he never recovered. So the news says. What can I say about Ace? Well, first of all, a little backstory on my history with Kiss. So, growing up, my journey with metal, hard rock and metal, period, started with Pantera. I was a huge fan of Vinnie Paul. I wanted to learn to play guitar from an early age. Unfortunately, that never happened. I can't play guitar to save my life. I play drums. For many of you who don't know me, I've been playing drums since I was 13 years old, 22 years at this point. On and off in some years, but for the most part, I'm, you know, well versed in the instrument. Just started picking up sax as well, fun fact. But growing up, like I said, Pantera was a big influence on me. Vinnie Paul, Dimebag Darrell, of course, and I always used to watch interviews. Excuse me a second. Right. So always used to watch interviews. I was such a big Pantera fan. Always used to read up on interviews and catch them on MTV back when MTV was a thing, since it recently shut down. Back when they played music videos, you had Headbangers Ball at that time. I remember watching an interview of Vinny and Dime talking about their influences when it came to the respective instruments. Of course, Vinny Paul on drums and Dimebag Darrell on guitar. And one of the big bands that was always mentioned was Kiss. Peter Chris was one of Vinnie Paul's biggest heroes, and of course, Ace Frehley, the late great now, was a hero to the also late great Dimebag Darrell. All three of them late greats, minus Peter Chris was still with us, but that was my start with Kiss. So naturally, as a kid who was curious on getting well versed into the world of hard rock and metal, classic hard rock and metal, and even modern day hard rock and metal at the time, I went and checked out Kiss. And I'll never forget picking up the first album and just hearing Black Diamond for the first time, listening to just how magical that song was. Didn't know who was singing, obviously, but now, as you know, the intro was done by Paul Stanley, and the vocals were sung by Peter Chris, and of course, that tasty, beautiful guitar solo by Ace Frehley. And I was hooked. I was hooked. I gotta be honest, I was hooked. And growing up, even as a kid, into my teenage years, into my young adult years, and now my adult years, there was a point in time where it wasn't cool to be a Kiss fan, especially when you come from a punk and extreme metal background, where that's most of what you listen to, punk, hardcore, and in my case, that was the case, extreme metal, thrash metal, death metal, couple black metal bands, not too many at that time, and classic heavy metal, of course, stuff like Sabbath, Metallica, Iron Maiden, Judas Priest, and the like. It wasn't cool to like Kiss. In fact, some people in school, in grade school and even high school, got picked on just because they listened to Kiss. But I always stood by Kiss. I've been a fan of Kiss ever since I first discovered them. Like I said, with Black Diamond, and of course, went on to discover all their albums, Hotter Than Hell, Dress to Kill, of course, Destroyer, Alive 1, Alive 2. Oh my God, Rock and Roll Over, Love Gun, Dynasty, Unmasked. Well, you'll see where that ranks on a future ranking. That's one of the big reasons why I decided to do this episode, is because I wanted to let you guys know that a future Kiss ranking is in the works. Not as we speak, but if Ken and Luis are listening, and a shout out to Christian as well, who all three couldn't make it, they, go watch Luis and Ken on their weekly Wednesday episodes. They just did a recording. I decided to do this solo. Unfortunately, they couldn't make it, but shout out to them. I'm sure they'll get in on it, especially Kenny. We were talking off air about, this incident, and unfortunately, well, it turned out to be true. And on a side note, we also lost D'Angelo yesterday as well. Was it yesterday? A couple days ago. We lost D'Angelo. Another different style of music, more R&B, neo soul type of stuff. I do want to do a tribute to D'Angelo, so this is my tribute to D'Angelo for now. Rest in peace, D'Angelo, and of course, rest in peace, Ace. Not to get sidetracked, where was I? Right. So growing up, I was always a huge Kiss fan. I always stuck by Kiss. I still stick by Kiss. I love Kiss to death. I don't listen to them, I will admit, every day. I don't. I just don't. But whenever I do, it's like, how do I say this without sounding derogatory? I'm just going to say it. And if you listen and really analyze my words, you'll understand what I'm saying. Kiss is a lot like McDonald's, right? And what do I mean by that? You don't listen to them every day. You don't. But when you do, it hits every time. At least I like to think so. Personal opinion, anyway, right? But man, tough. Hasn't hit me yet, but it will eventually. I'm just going to spoil that for all you listeners out there. And man, let's get into the music, shall we? So, starting off with the first album, because, Ace Frehley was around up until, technically, he was around up until Music from the Elder. He was on the cover of Creatures in the Night, which I'll get into in a second, but he didn't play a lick on the album. Go figure. First album. Well, before I get started, any Kiss listener, any people who are listening to this episode and do not like Kiss, this episode is not for you. It's not, because I know Kiss has a lot of haters. But for those of us who love Kiss, stick around. And please give it a like and follow, share and subscribe. You'll be glad you did. I would greatly appreciate it. So, like I said earlier, I'm not well versed in guitars. I can't tell you anything about arpeggios and notes and frets and what scales or chords are being played. I I'm not well versed in that. I don't play guitar. You would have to ask Ken for that. But what I do know is good music is good music. At least I think so. I don't care what it is. If it's good, it's good. And to my ears, Kiss is good. It hits every time I listen to them. In this case, I've been listening to them a lot since the news broke out. But Ace Frehley as a guitar player, I will say a lot of people who play guitar, who know guitar, who are well versed in the guitars, will tell you that although he wasn't really the most technically skilled player, definitely wasn't the flashiest, he was very tasty. He was very tasty, serviced the songs so well, and even wrote some stuff too, right? Early on, especially, wrote songs, but he wasn't really confident in his singing ability. So that would come much later. That would come much later. But early on, he did write some songs, contributed to some songwriting, some classic Kiss songs, actually, that got them to where they eventually, went the big leagues, is in other words. So yeah, though not the most technically skilled player, definitely inspired a lot of different guitar players ever since his start. Of course, the big one was Dimebag Darrell. It's been no secret, Dimebag Darrell, huge fan of Kiss. The guys in Pantera were huge Kiss fans, especially Vinny and Dime. Rest in peace to both, as I mentioned earlier. Big Kiss fans. They've made no secret about it. Of course, Tom Morello from Rage Against the Machine was also heavily influenced by Ace Frehley. John Five, guitar virtuoso, big section players, done everything with Marilyn Manson, played with Rob Zombie and the like. I mean, he's played with many different bands. I think he has his own band too and has his own solo stuff going on. Great guitar player, heavily influenced by Ace Frehley. And of course, my man from the Foo Fighters by the name of Chris Shiflett. Their guitar player was also influenced by Ace. And I also forgot to mention Mike McCready from Pearl Jam. Also has been vocal about Ace's influence in his sound. And you can definitely hear it if you listen to these. And of course, Slash, obviously, Slash from Guns N' Roses, Velvet Revolver, his solo work, Slash the Snake Pit, you name it. All of these guys were, influenced at some point in one way or another by the late great Ace Frehley. And just goes to show you, as a songwriter, he, you know, obviously not the greatest of all time, but wrote some killer songs, a lot of rock and Kiss songs, a lot of classic Kiss songs that are still being played on the radio, on satellite radio to be specific, are still being heard around the world. There's music reaction channels discovering Kiss every single day. I mean, I see it all the time. And for people like us who, may have discovered Kiss through word of mouth back in the early days, or through magazines, or through friends and family, or were raised on Kiss, were lucky enough to see Kiss at some point in time live. Always a good time, you know, but had to get a word in. Oh, hello.
Ah,
Nice of you to join.
hello, hello, hello.
Hello. With me tonight is Kenny. With me
Yeah,
tonight is Kenny, ladies and gentlemen.
trying to jump in while I can. Right? Can you hear me at all?
Yeah, I can hear you. I
Okay,
can hear you.
I didn't set up a mic or anything. I was just
No,
kind of
it's okay. I just got some words in. I was just doing my history on Kiss, how I got into them, and you know, I was talking about, and you actually made it just in time. So I was gonna ask you because I'm not well versed on guitars, but I was the opinion I just mentioned. People will listen that he was pretty tasty. He wasn't the flashiest, but he definitely serviced the songs well. Good
yeah.
songwriter, wrote a lot
He's
of
awesome.
classics that many people don't know about. So
Hell yeah.
talk about him as a guitar player and
Ooh.
your thoughts and
So here's the weird thing because like y'all know I came up with death metal more than anything.
so
And
did
I
I.
always heard about Kiss and everything. So when I first listened to them, they didn't really blow me away like everybody else. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
I had already heard the craziest shit in the world. I was like, this
exactly.
when I saw them, I expected them to sound like Venom or something. And
True.
then when I went and listened to them, I'm like, oh, they sound like classic rock. That's cool. But I grew to love it, of course, like everyone else.
Yeah,
I
of
started
course.
to understand, and hell yeah, dude. I'm gonna get to this one. That's great. Yeah,
Yeah,
dude.
that's
Fucking yeah, he's a great guitar player. Like, you know how it is. It's kind of like Ringo and drumming. You know, you ain't got to be the most technical dude in the world to blow it up.
exactly. Exactly.
He was just fucking cool looking, and
Exactly.
killer riffs and killer solos and shit. Solos that you could sing along to. You know what I mean?
Yes. Yes.
That's just as important. Sometimes you don't have to be Malmsteen. You can hum along to those solos and shit. You can sing those solos out.
Right. They
That's
speak for
more
themselves.
important. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
He was fucking great, dude.
Absolutely.
This is one of my favorite records I ever found in a store because some lady that had it drew hearts on the guy's on Paul and Jane. I love that so much. This is my favorite records. I bought it because of that.
Because of that, yeah, the hearts around Paul and
Old
Jean.
Alice really loved Paul and Jane.
So much she wrote her name
She
right
wrote her
next to
name
him.
there in the back with a heart by it and stuff. How fucking great is that?
Yeah.
I love that. That's so cool.
Yeah, I was just gonna kind of run down through some of his
Yeah, my
classics. Of
old
course,
records I
Dynasty.
pulled out, man.
Yeah.
My Beat Up Alive
Alive
2.
2. Yep.
My Beat Up Alive.
Alive 1, of course.
You know, yeah, that's all I got so far. That's all I
Of
really got
course,
on
the
that.
first solo album.
And Gene, I like Jeans a lot, though, to be honest.
Yeah.
I have Peters too, but I don't have the sleeve of it.
Yeah. Of course, Ace. Yeah. Speaking of Ace solo albums, of course, Ace wrote the best one. That's no
Yeah,
secret at this
yeah,
point.
yeah.
Yeah.
Sure. I'm a bigger fan of Gene and Peters just because they're so different and weird.
I do like Peters with the
Peters is
soulful
fantastic,
soulness.
dude.
Yeah.
It's rock and roll and shit, dude. I love that
Yeah.
stuff.
Soul, rock and roll. Yeah. Very,
Love that. I
very
like
early
Jeans a lot too because
Fortons.
it's just goofy and weird, but that's what you're supposed to be doing. But
Yeah.
Ace and Paul just wrote Kiss records, you know, and
Yeah.
they're great.
Exactly. Exactly. I
Yeah,
was
Ace
gonna
is
mention
rules, dude.
definitely of the four. I think Ace had the more, I guess you would say, prolific, though not the right word to use, but the more notorious solo career, right? Because he went on
Right.
his own. He had to, because he was kicked out the band because he had
Oh,
his
that's what it,
demons.
you know. It's funny. I bought this at the record store, at this little used shop, and it's Peters. That's what it is. I don't even have Aces. I have Peters and an Ace thing.
Well, you have the jacket, so it counts.
That's what it was. I bought this at a little weird record store. Actually, that guy just passed away. That's long ago sad. It's a weird little record
Oh
store in
man.
Lafayette, Louisiana, called Pioneer. They had a great record room though. Buy records all day for like $4. And I picked this up, just Blige grabbed it and ran. And I got home, I'm like, oh, somebody slipped Peter in there. And I was like, oh, good, now I have Peters,
Now you have Peters, yeah, with a
which
sleeve.
is goofy and weird, but yeah, dude.
Different sleeve, but a sleeve nonetheless. So yeah, man, talk about some of your favorite riffs or anything you want to mention before we, you
Yeah,
know.
man. I mean, like we just heard that he had fell in the studio and stuff not too
Yep,
long ago,
3-ish
and
weeks ago I mentioned
wow,
74.
I still wasn't
74.
expecting it in a way. He certainly lived the hardest.
Yeah, yeah, of course.
Except maybe Peter, but golly, dude.
Where do you even begin, man? The first album alone
Yeah, the
is
first
like,
album's perfect.
oh my God. First album, yeah, of course, Cold Gin,
Cold Gin, man, you
beautiful.
know.
Deuce,
Yeah,
just the intro alone
right,
is fantastic. And I mentioned songwriting. He wrote Cold Gin, didn't sing on
right,
it because he was so self-conscious early on about his voice.
right. He
Get
was
to
right
that.
about that, by the way. His voice is awful, but no, he was right to not be the one, but he was,
Yeah.
whatever.
Considering the other three had,
Yeah,
especially
they had
Peter has an amazing voice, and Paul
the
obviously could.
best. Yeah,
Paul could sing too, and
absolutely.
Gene did his thing too, but yeah, Ace definitely.
Ace is okay enough.
Ace is okay, yeah. Not terrible, not the worst, but of course you have Black Diamond 100,000 Years, and then
Yeah, man. Yeah.
you
Just
get to Paris, you get to Parasite, you get to Hotter Than Hell, of course you have Strange Ways. Jesus
oh
Christ.
man, wow.
Strange Ways, Watching You, some tasteful licks on there. Parasite, which is heavy.
Yeah, she
She Undressed to Kill, of course.
Love Gun, man.
Come On and Love Me, absolutely. Destroyer, of course, has Do You Love Me. His solo on Detroit Rock City, which is iconic.
Yeah, dude. Yeah,
You know,
fucking great.
Rock and Roll Over. Mr. Speed is really good. Just off the top of my head, Making Love, I Want You. So many beautiful songs. Of course, the versions on Alive are definitive, no
Oh
matter who
yeah,
you ask.
definitely.
No matter who you ask. Some people say Alive 1 versus Alive 2. Which one's better? I mean, flip a coin.
Yeah,
Flip a
it's all
coin.
great.
It's all great. It's all great stuff. Yeah.
All great, dude.
All great stuff. I've said Kiss was a lot like McDonald's where you don't listen to them every day, but when it hits,
Yeah,
it's like
I
it
I,
hits.
I kind of got into him way later than most people,
So did I.
honestly. But yeah, once I did, I was like full in, man.
Yeah. I discovered them through Pantera because Pantera was my gateway into
That's
hard rock and
fair.
metal. So
Yeah.
just watching them talk about Kiss, I was like, oh, let me check them out.
I honestly, weirdly enough, I didn't deep dive into him a lot until like shout out to like podcast when I started listening to like
Kiss, yeah,
podcasts and shit about
of
him.
course.
The Podfather Ken,
The
the other Ken, the
Podfather Ken
better
Mills.
Ken. right?
No, come on now.
Ken Mills rules, my
Shout out to
boy.
Ken
But
Mills. Yeah.
listening to all that really made me nerd out and listen to everything, man. Uh, that's really where I got into it. It's been a long time now, but
Yeah. Definitely
like
the ultimate podcast, the ultimate Kiss podcast for
for sure.
nobody who does, for those of you who don't know,
My
go check out podcast.
my younger years weren't super into Kisses as much as you'd probably think, though.
Yeah.
I remember so like my older brother had all this music I got into. I remember him telling me that oh fuck, what's that one? I'm blanking, man.
Dama Dynasty.
No. What's the one with Detroit on it? Am I right?
Oh, Destroyer.
Yeah, he told me Destroyer was the only good Kiss album.
So wrong.
And I looked, and all he had was that and like the two '80s albums. And I was like, that's probably why I think so.
Yeah.
But
Come to think, is Destroyer is like one of the weakest ones, I think,
yeah,
compared to
right.
everything
At
else.
that point, he told me it was the only good one, and I listened to it, and I was like, it's all right.
It's
I
okay. It's
never
a
really listened to it that much else.
little too theatrical, but it's okay.
And way later, I got the first album at Walmart, you know, and I was like, wow, this album rips, dude.
On
I love
CD
that album.
or LP?
Yeah,
On
yeah.
CD?
I got a CD by then. And honestly, when me and my wife got together, she had a best of, and I traded her my first one for that best of so I could listen to more stuff I didn't know. We kind of swapped CDs for a while there
Oh yeah.
because she loves Kiss a lot too. And yeah,
Great
we
stuff,
went
man.
cinema a couple years ago. That was pretty cool, you know.
Yeah,
I
I
know a lot
caught
of people
the
talk shit about the late tours and all, but we had a good time.
yeah. I saw him during Psycho Circus a long time ago.
And
I saw that. That was great.
obviously no Ace there, but that's
Yeah,
okay.
absolutely. Absolutely. We won't get into the controversy surrounding,
Nah,
the Cadman and the spaceman,
yeah, it's all good, man.
Tommy Eric Singer, of course. If you know, you know.
Sure.
Definitely wanted to get a word out there,
But
but
yeah, man, Ace. Wow, I just kind of didn't. I seen somebody post something about Ace earlier, and I really didn't pay much attention until I got home, and I was like, "Oh, wait, that's what's going on."
yeah,
Whoa!
yeah. I was gonna
Wow!
send you a message about it, but I was like, you know what?
Wow!
You'll find out real quick.
That is massive.
Yeah,
Wow! The
yeah.
first one of the originals, man.
The first one, yeah. I always
Wow!
thought it'd be Peter in a way.
Probably right. He's the oldest,
Yeah, but it's
and
crazy
he lived
how
hard.
yeah, life is so short, man.
Ace
It's
was the
crazy how
youngest one, wasn't he?
he's gotta be.
I think he was the younger one of the
Yeah,
bunch.
yeah. He had to be. I think Peter's the oldest, isn't he?
Yeah, he was the oldest.
Peter's the oldest, then it's like Gina
Mm-hmm.
Paul, and then it's Ace. Yeah, Ace was the youngest.
Mm-hmm.
A nasty fall and a hit to the head is literally what did it, man.
Golly,
It's
wow.
crazy. Internal bleeding, but yeah, so the reports say. But
Yeah.
yeah, I saw it coming when I gotta give a shout out to my buddy Brian, who's also a huge Kiss fan. You know, he'll probably listen to this episode once I send it to him, but he loves Ace Frehley. He
Fuck yeah,
loves Ace
dude.
Frehley. Like he loves Kiss to death just as much as I do. But yeah, he probably taking it a little hard. But
Ace is certainly one of the reasons I wanted to get a Cherry Les Paul, that's for sure.
yeah, I didn't even mention the Cherry Les Paul. Absolutely.
Fuck, dude. That was definitely one of the reasons. He had that three pickup Cherry Les. Oh, dude, it's so
Oh
sick.
yeah,
I actually
beautiful.
just sold my Les Paul a while back. I sold it off, but I didn't like the one I got. I got a cheap version. I didn't like the way it sounded. But it was cool to have one just for that minute and just kind
Yeah,
of
it
feel
looks
that.
beautiful.
That's
It
what I
looks
recorded
beautiful.
our old intro on.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's right. That's
Uh,
right. Shout out to Tupunk.
yeah, dude.
No, but I mentioned some guys he influenced, of course, Dime Slash, of course,
Time.
Mike from Pearl
Yeah.
Jam, John Five.
Yeah.
I kind of went through that during the intro, just history, and just went down through some songs and basically him,
Oh,
what
wow.
happened, but
Wow.
wanted to get a word out there. Still kind of weird to say because you're right, he is the
Wow.
youngest, and it's like, oh, it just feels so weird.
It's like Ozzy not too long ago.
Ozzy not too long ago, and I said
Uh,
a couple of days ago, was it yesterday we lost D'Angelo too. So
yeah,
I'll
D'Angelo.
yeah, I did my
Shout out to
little tribute.
D'Angelo, bro.
Yeah, I did my little tribute to D'Angelo. Go
That's
listen to
just
D'Angelo.
fire too, bro.
Yeah,
Hell yeah.
for all you R&B and soul heads, go listen
Woo,
to D'Angelo. Oh my
fire.
God. You know what's crazy about D'Angelo? So
Great musician.
yeah, great musician. His son, like Angie Stone passed away earlier this year
Right, right,
too,
right.
which is crazy. Like how insane you lose your parents in the same year.
Yeah, dude.
It's wild, man. But
I
yeah, his
remember
case,
I used to float around a bunch of rare record groups and all, and like D'Angelo was always big because like that one record he kind of put out was like at a time where vinyl wasn't pressed very often, so it's kind of one of those rare records, so it always pop up.
Brown
And
Sugar, right?
yeah, and he was always
Yeah.
pretty big in like rock circles and stuff because he was such a good musician and shit.
Yeah, I was
Like
gonna
rock and
say.
metal people like D'Angelo, man, a lot.
Yeah, yeah,
It's because he's a great musician and that stuff's just awesome.
yeah. Put out 3 albums and they're all
Yeah,
fire.
yeah.
Supposedly there was a fourth one in the works at the time of his death, but
Mm,
whether or not we get that at some point, we'll see what happens.
probably.
I definitely want to hear it though. Like if that's the last of what he did, I
Yeah, I'd
definitely
love
want
to
to hear it.
hear
But
it. Okay.
yeah. But go check out some D'Angelo and go listen to Kiss Loud and Proud. And
Oh,
yeah, if you're a Kiss hater, this ain't for you.
nah, man, fuck
but for
that,
the
dude.
but for those of you who love Kiss,
Like, yeah, towards the later years, Ace was a little embarrassing, and
of course,
but fuck it, dude. He was an old dude. He didn't give a shit, you know.
of course, I won't hold it against them.
Nah, man. Still one of the most iconic motherfuckers ever.
Yeah,
You know,
and such an iconic voice where if you're such a fan and you hear his voice, you just hear him talk, say one word, it's
yeah,
like, oh, that's Ace.
the
Yeah.
picture of him fucking bent over with the smoking guitar and shit, you know, and fucking guitar is smoking out now, and he's fucking shredding it up. Like, come
Or
on,
that
dude.
one interview in the
You don't get no
70s where
cooler
he
than
was
that.
just laughing his ass off.
Oh yeah, he was hammered.
Who was that guy's? What was that guy's name? Was it Dick something?
You got me. I would know that otherwise.
Oh my God. It's such an iconic interview. But it's funny. He's hammered as shit, though. Yeah.
Yeah,
Had his demons, of course, but that not a good way to go out. Not a good way to go out. So
yeah, it sucks, man.
peace and love to his family, to his kids, to everyone who knew him personally. But
Yeah, I was kind of scrambling around. I'd hope I could jump on in time to catch y'all.
and I'm sorry to get you on such a short notice, but it's
These episodes happen, don't they?
these episodes do happen. Yeah, they happen, unfortunately, with circumstances like this. But wanted to get a word out there. Do you want to have any closing words, Ken, or
Oh,
anything you
good
want to
man. I
say?
just wanted to jump in. I dug my records out and stuff.
Awesome, man.
As Cheap Trick said, got my Kiss records out.
Get my Kiss records out. Yeah, another band, of course. Another band.
Yeah,
Yeah,
can you get any more influenced by Kiss than those dudes? You know.
exactly. Peace, love, and good health to them. Oh, and another band I wanted to mention before I'm gonna close off with this. So, if you love Kiss, check out a band called Stars. To
Oh
anyone who's
yeah.
listening, Stars is very underrated. Stars with a Z
Fuck
at the
yeah.
end.
Mhm.
If you love Kiss, you'll definitely love Stars.
Yeah,
It's like total Kiss worship, which is good.
that's who's the dude in that band?
Oh my God, I forget his name, but it's good. It's good stuff. Just classic hard rock. If you're into Cheap Trick, if you're into yeah, if you're into Kiss, what's this guy's name? Oh, the guy from Looking Glass, right? You're talking about Elliot
Yeah,
Lurie?
I'm thinking of something else probably.
No, Elliot Lurie. Yeah, that's his big claim to fame. He was in Looking Glass, who did that "Brandy You're a Fine Girl" song, which is like the one
Okay.
hit wonder. Then he
I'm
did
thinking of
Stars.
somebody else and something else completely. But
Yeah,
anyway,
completely
all
different
good.
band. Completely different band. But yeah, go check out Stars. Go listen to some D'Angelo. Go listen to some Kiss. And with that, we leave you guys. And rest in peace to Taze. Rest in peace to D'Angelo.
Ace.
And peace, love, and good health to Cheap Trick, man. You said that just earlier, and hopefully we don't have to hear from that camp at
No.
all. But
No.
yeah, for Kenny and myself, this has been your founding fathers. This is the Against Us podcast, and we'll catch you guys next time, somewhere between the end of eternity and today. So take care, everyone.